think given the state of Gladstone and how it is mostly, it's been very industrial for a very long time, and I think the community groups along with industry are working very hard to repair some of the inevitable destruction that has occurred as a result of development.
As you can see, it's a very busy port. It's one of the busiest in Australia. Lots of shipping coming in outside the harbour. There's ships lined up waiting to come in. Essentially meeting up with the transport connections, but also there's a big industrial area around the port. It's all overlaying the natural environment that you see around us here. Extensive mangrove areas and salt marsh and salt pans, seagrass beds in the water. You've got lots of turtles and dugongs. This is environment and business of industry all sort of colliding, and the questions that we're here to sort of investigate is to find out from looking at the tidal wetlands point of view, mangroves, salt marsh, is to understand just how big these impacts are, and basically the idea is to work out a way that these facilities can function and coexist.
To Gladstone because we've been given the opportunity with this grant from the Gladstone Port Corporation to conduct an environmental monitoring assessment of the mangroves and tidal wetlands across the Port Curtis area, extending south to Rods Bay and up to the Fitzroy River mouth. Particularly large area, but it's just jam-packed with probably about 40,000 hectares of mangroves and salt marsh. The questions that our program's going to be addressing are the impacts of that industry and whether the natural ecosystems can coexist with these industries and their expansion.
The reason why we've commissioned JCU to undertake this work, they have developed a series of programs and projects surrounding all of the iconic species and habitats in this area, and they recognised that doing a project like this was an important one.
We're looking at the extent of how much area is here. We're trying to find out if that's being reduced by reclamation and landfill for part of the port development. We're looking at pollution aspects. If there are any pollutants in the environment, you naturally expect that with ports there will be the occasional oil spill. It's an accidental situation. They happen. We just have to be prepared for it. And we also need to know overall exactly what are the larger big picture types of pressures and movements that are going on in these places. How much is climate and it's changing, how is that affecting these areas, and we need to know, if it is about temperature, what's a rising temperature doing to these forests, and changing rainfall patterns, they all have an impact.
Because we're operating within this beautiful environment, we have to be really mindful of the impacts that our operations and our port development have on the ecosystem.
We have a number of environmental requirements, of which is establishing a program, and that program is actually overseen by an independent advisory panel that consists of about 6 experts, all in a range of different fields. So this panel has developed a series of programs to help GPC and the rest of port users develop a really detailed ecological understanding of Port Curtis and Port Alma, and then you can assess any impacts associated with any port activities and possibly even climate events as well.
To conduct this program, we've broken it up into 5 different components, which we've put together as what we call the CHAMP, the Coastal Habitat Archive Monitoring Program. Those 5 components start with mapping from satellite imagery and aerial photographs. With those we get historical perspective of change from the 1940s up to the present day. The next stages of the program all start to address that broad scale view that we've got from the whole area, and to validate what we see in that remote sensing. And those components start with aerial surveys using helicopters, where we fly along the shorelines. As you can see, quite a perspective from helicopter view that you don't get in a boat or from a satellite. The next part that we incorporate is the filming of the shoreline edges from boats using video. We call that the shoreline video assessment method. Quantifying it in its locations of where the dieback is, how much, what species are affected, all those things you can get from the boat shoreline video assessment method. The last component is about, I suppose, presenting and displaying the data that's collected. We're building towards some innovative technologies that allow us to present an environment we call street view for coastlines, but shore view, and with that we'll be able to upload the data or the imagery that we collect, as well as the assessment data, to be visible and available publicly for anyone who wants to go and have a look. One of the real strengths of this program is its partnerships. There's something that I don't believe has happened anywhere quite this way before. We get the help of the traditional owners of the Qld group to come along with us, basically as observers in the craft, and to help with some of the photography that needs to be taken.
Mangrove Watch is one of quite a few different activities that we've got our young men getting involved in. Well, it's a massive undertaking for any organisation, obviously, but our community has never had this opportunity previously. The department and those sorts of agencies are very difficult for our young people to get that first leg in the door, and so we would hope that by introducing our young people to this opportunity via the doorway that Qld has provided, that we would build that capacity within our community, so there'd be flow-on effects to the boys and girls and the young men and women in our community to aspire to become a ranger looking after our country.
This week, we went up in the helicopter with Norman Jock and done some aerial surveys. It really just opens your mind up to a lot of different things, obviously because you've got a bigger picture from up in the sky. But yeah, it's been awesome. Like Jock and Norm are very, very knowledgeable in that area of mangroves, and it's just great soaking up all the information that they can give us, and I guess helping them out from our side of the fence. So yeah, it's great.
What a great opportunity for these young guys in our community. Walk out of high school without an OP score, get on the dole, sit in front of a TV, playing video games. This just takes them out of that four walls and gets them out into the open spaces. What could be better than that? I can't think of anything.
The reason that we're coming to use the groups like the traditional owners and the community volunteers, because we want dedicated people that are interested, enthusiastic. They may not know how to do things at the moment, but we train them up and they collect data, because basically there's a lot of ground to cover.
Oh, well, once the information is recorded, it's all then forwarded to James Cook University. It's kept there in a database. This is for the use to ascertain whether the river system and the mangroves is improving after the floods, whether there's degeneration, whether there's been oil slick spills out to sea and it's all washed in, and how it's affected. It is a database to record the health of the mangroves along these estuaries and waterways, and it actually extends from the Fitzroy River Delta down to Turkey Station. That's where this program is working.
It's important to map and take note of the river system, because as the mangroves have a very important ecological role in the health of our waterways and provide such an important habitat for very small animals. Actually, they have a lot of carbon storage. They are responsible for capturing a lot of carbon, much more than a lot of terrestrial plants. And they contribute to erosion control of the banks. So monitoring the mangrove system is important for understanding what could happen in severe weather events, and protecting them can actually help protect us on land as well as our fisheries for the future.
I think that it's a wonderful learning opportunity, and I think people should get on board and support it. We need volunteers from every walk of life, especially we need people with boats. And you've got to get a boat, you've got to get out there. And I think it's a wonderful opportunity. It's a great way to socialise and to learn about the environment, be part of it and to contribute to it.
Just getting the community involved. When I first moved here, I found that a lot of people just didn't know what was at their doorstep. And so there's so many different ways that this project has that, and I not only get involved with Mangrove Watch, getting the Indigenous community involved, but you've got a public portal and even the cool little app that they're developing with Shoreline View, which is a bit like Street View, where everyone can get involved at different levels, whether they're actually getting their feet muddy or sitting at a computer.
This very carefully selected group of partners are able for the first time to contribute to a monitoring of shoreline ecosystems that will be considered world-class.
The RMP is a big project. It's a multi-million-dollar project that's got to run over 10 years, and so there's a lot of coordination involved in that. We're really keen to make sure that the information that we're gathering as part of this program is being shared with the community so that everybody's informed.
At the end of the day is to create an environment where we can have our industry and our development, but still be mindful that these natural ecosystems that surround us have great benefits, and that we should all know about these benefits.
We can be that commercially viable port, have our core business operations going on, as well as being a good environmental citizen.
We're pretty lucky to have what we have with the islands and the wildlife.
The CHAMP program, it's 5 components. I've been working on the different components over many years, many decades. I think there's a really good chance that we can properly monitor the changes that are going on and be able to apply this method and partnership idea in other ports around the country. And it's all about now pulling them together, those components, so that we are, and I believe we are, approaching what I would call world best practice.